Hello, everybody. Brad Johnson here, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Empathic Interfacing Live. So, hope you are all doing very, very well. I've just been spending the last couple days kind of in recovery because I was actually camping in Salt Spring Island last weekend, and I accidentally really badly sprained my foot. But fortunately, I've been doing some accelerative healing practices and feeling way, way better. So the past 3.5 days have really just been with me recovering. I've had to kind of take it easy on sessions as well too. But I'm back in full swing, so I'm basically just starting to walk again, just with a little bit of a limp. But I'm certainly recovering, so I've been using quite a few different techniques to helping me get back on my feet, literally. So that has been my adventure for the past few days. I'm going to be doing a vlog video later today and talking more about that, about accelerative healing and why these particular injuries do happen. So it certainly isn't the first time for me, but it's a good message, and I think it needs to be shared through the vlog. But anyways, we're going to have a really exciting discussion today, as I'm going to be connecting with Athena from the Delphi. So she's going to be coming through today. And I just want to welcome everybody here on the chat. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We are going to do some live questions here in a little bit once Athena comes through. And of course, when we last talked to Athena, she left you guys with an exercise, right, about how you guys can personally connect with her. Well, if you guys have been able to personally connect with her based upon what has been shared in the previous empathic interfacing, feel free to share that on the chat. I'd love to hear your experiences with Athena as well too. Again, she'll be coming through here very, very shortly. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And yeah, someone says, "Oh, sorry to hear about the ankle." I guess I said, "Well, I'm not sorry. Don't worry about that. I don't regret injuring my ankle. Actually, I'm very, very happy that I injured my ankle." So it's kind of a funny thing to say, but it's in a way kind of a blessing in disguise. I'm actually very, very happy that this happened because it really tests one's own ability. Like I said, that's going to be talked about more in the vlog later today that I'll be filming. So before we get started with empathic interfacing, I'm just going to be sharing an announcement. So one announcement is that we have a new 20% off discount offer. So you can get 20% off all sessions and products. Okay, so this means that the private one-to-one sessions, the Akashic sessions, the EQ method, as well as the Adronis phase courses, Merkaba meditation series, and of course the brand new course that's available right now, the body regeneration series, which of course is a course that I've been using on my own to fix my ankle, and it's been doing very, very well. So I've gotten some really great, powerful results off that. But again, you get 20% off all sessions and products from New Earth Teachings. Just use the promo code TEACHINGS20. Okay, that's TEACHINGS20, all in capital letters. Okay, don't use lowercase. All in caps, TEACHINGS20 on the shopping cart page. So when you order your product, you'll go to the shopping cart page that you see here, and then you'll see a little link that says enter a promo code. Click on that link, and then just enter TEACHINGS20 all in capital letters, apply it, and then of course you'll get 20% off any particular session or product. And the good news is this lasts until the end of day of Sunday, December 9th. So from today up until the end of day of Sunday, this is available. So please feel free to take advantage of it. Again, I'm back in full swing, so I'm doing sessions here. I still got quite a few sessions that I'm finishing up this week as well too. So I do have quite a bit of availability starting next week. So again, if you guys want to take advantage of it, please do. That's why it's here. And of course, on Saturday, we have Adronis Open Forums. This is going to be happening this Saturday, December 8th at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. So it's going to be a live Q&A interaction. So it's basically just a full presentation event, channeling event, where everybody can ask questions directly to Adronis. So we did the same one, I believe it was a little over a month ago, and had a great time with that. So we're going to have another one here this coming Saturday. So again, feel free just to tune in to YouTube live stream for a free Adronis open forum interaction. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, everybody, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the empathic interfacing. Now, the last time I did the empathic interfacing, I was talking with 3 beings. The first was Taylor. He was, again, an iguana reptoid that was part of the Galactic Federation fleets in that way. The second was one known as Horus, and he represented a member of the Sasquatch race, kind of the sandy brown Sasquatch race living in Arizona. And so those two briefly came through. And of course, my third visitor, I will say, was Athena from the Delphi. And so I'm feeling a nice, really nice connection with Delphi. I felt a nice connection with the other two as well too, but I've always had this really great interest in the Delphi a lot more. Now, before I bring Athena in, some people again have asked me about other people, certain other people who may have had contacts with the inner earth beings, or again, the blue avians, and I'm pretty sure people know what I'm talking about. And I know there's quite a few questions that got on the chat. And here's what I really want to clarify with anybody. Guys, I am not here to authenticate or disauthenticate anybody else. Okay, do not ask my opinion about other people, about if they're being true, if they're being untrue. I'm not going to cover that stuff, right? That's not for me to decide. I'm not here for you guys to put me on top of a pedestal and saying, well, Brad says he doesn't really like this guy, so I shouldn't like him either, right? No, we don't want to go there, right? So what I could suggest is just not being able to go to those particular type of questions where we're asking about people's authenticity, other channelers or other contacts or contactees, whoever it may be. Let's not go there, right? You have to make up your own mind. You have to discern through yourself relating to other people that share this information. And I'm not here to bash anybody or belittle anybody in that particular way. Some people may not even believe what I do, and that's okay too. All I can say is that what I do through me is what's coming through authentically, but I can't prove that to anybody, nor can any other particular speaker or contactee or channel prove to everybody else that what they're doing is authentic, right? It just has to come through them. And if it's something that resonates with you, that's fine. Like for me, if you love what I'm doing, fantastic. If you don't love what I'm doing, that's okay too, right? It's the whole idea that we're not here to basically verify the authenticity of another person. That gets people nowhere. That just leads into an endless rut of blame and ridicule and debate, and we don't need that. It's time to get out of that stuff. It's time to get out of this debate mentality, right? It's in my particular perspective, it's very stupid, right? It's not about debating or spending hours or days or weeks, a month or years debating and fighting about who's this and who's that. You need to look inside yourself, right? You're the truth holder here. You're the key. You're the one that's going to unfold what is possible within your life. So let's keep that in mind as we, again, get into the Q&A here a little bit later on. So I just want to put that out there just to make that very, very clear. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take a few moments now to connect with Athena. She is standing by, and she, again, exists in kind of a white realm form of consciousness, kind of like how I am right now in my little white realm here in the back, my little white veil. So let me just take a few moments to align to Athena, and of course, if you guys want to do it with me as well too, you're more than welcome to. So again, here's the steps of what we do. So step number one is we are connecting to Athena's energy, right? I don't have the photo up on my software here, but in previous episodes, we basically see Athena as a white-haired, kind of pale red eyes, albino looking woman. Okay, so she is part of the Delphi. I've talked about the Delphi quite a bit. They exist basically underneath Greece. The previous contact I had was Nefertitis, but he has basically decided not to really get involved too much with the empathic interfacing anymore. He basically is in the circle, he's holding space, but the delegate that's communicating for the Delphi now is his little sister, Athena. So Athena is not her real name by any means. I've had quite a few people come to me and say, oh, hey, Brad, I know who this Athena is, and blah, 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 and it's this person, it's this guy, and all that stuff. And sorry to say, that's not who she is, right? This is not her real name. This is just a name that she has chosen, just like Nefertitis chose Nefertitis in that particular way. Athena has chosen Athena in that way, representing that of the Greek goddess. So that's just representing an archetype to her energy in that way. So anyways, the steps we're going to get is we're going to connect into Athena's energy. So you're going to feel her energy as she comes through. And then secondly, we're going to challenge her. Okay. So after we challenge her, the third step we're going to do is we're going to challenge her 3 times. Okay. So first connect, second challenge, third challenge 3 times. So let's go ahead and let's start that together now. Let's connect with Athena's energy. Let's feel the space of the white light to which Athena occupies. You may also sense that there is again a total of 12 beings that are connected in her circle as they are holding space for this interaction. And just feeling Athena's energy, feeling her grace, her love coming to your own awareness. And now that Athena is starting to appear, we're going to ask her the question of challenge. Taking a moment now to really just lift up your joy levels, your love levels, your tranquility. Move yourself into the highest loving space that you feel you can, feeling very soft, very tranquil, very loving. I am of the Christ consciousness. Athena, are you of the Christ consciousness to which I dwell? Yes. Okay. We're going to now ask her again 2 more times. Let's take a moment, move our energies up higher, bringing ourselves into higher joy, higher love, higher tranquility, feeling yourself just going up that extra tier now. Feeling the idea that Jesus, in that sense, may be holding your hands. Buddha may be holding your hands, moving into the realms of the ascended masters, and just feeling their presence as they hold their hands, and Athena raises up with you as well. I am of pure, loving source consciousness, honoring the God within me that is divine. Athena, do you honor the God within you that is divine? She says to me, I do, yes. So we're raising up again to the 3rd tier. So let's move up even higher, past the ascended realms. Let's move up into that pure heart source, the heart source of your pure God essence within, and moving up to that bright light, however it appears to you. And just feel this state of stillness, this state of bliss, to this purity of love essence that flows through you now, that is the purity of divinity and tranquility and oneness. I am of the oneness God heart, pure in love, pure in divinity, pure in essence of all that is bliss. Athena, are you of this energy? She is. All right. Let's take a moment now, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. And let's just ground all of this energy back into ourselves now, feeling it flowing through our body. And just feel that energy coming through the bottom of your feet first. Okay, so coming up through the bottom of your feet, and feel the brown ray frequency. The brown ray frequency is connected to the bottom of your feet all the way up to the sacrum. So we're moving this pure loving energy up through the brown ray frequency, and connecting with the root, the navel, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the 3rd eye, the crown, and your aura. And just feel it magnetizing together with your body. And just take another deep breath in and another deep breath out. And blessings. Okay, so that is our connection to Athena. So again, Athena is here. And again, I'm just sending my love and appreciation to Athena. Thank you very much for being present here with all of us today. Athena, is there anything that you want to share since we have last spoken? It says, there are a lot more fleets in the sky now than there have ever been. There's a lot more energies coming through the sun. So there's a lot more fleets. Basically, we could say that there is an armada that's coming through. But this, again, is the armada of the Galactic Confederation of planets. And so there is a very large fleet that is coming through. It has just recently happened, possibly within the last couple of days. So more fleets are coming in through the sun. And again, they are doing staging grounds. There is a very large, could say almost a coup d'etat that is taking place here. There are cells taking place. There's going to be the opportunity of bait and switch tactics happening here cosmically. And there are going to be bait and switch tactics that are happening here on your planet. We understand that there has been situations just recently relating to what has happened upon your state of California, relating to the fires that have taken place, the satellites that are direct energy weapons that have fired upon specific estates. Again, all part of acquisition. This has not gone unnoticed, and again, it is all part of a bait and switch tactic. There was a feeling through much of your own alliances that something like this may have actually happened, and they only proved that they actually took place with this. So there is basically a coup d'etat that is happening right now, a bait and switch operation, where those responsible will be apprehended. And that particular technology is going to be confiscated. And just for my own way, I was asking previously, shortly after this had happened, if these particular satellites, these directed energy weapons that did this through California, would be shot down. And the answer is no, they're not being shot down. They're being confiscated. So they're being, in that sense, changing of ownership. So the feeling I'm getting here is that there's a very large alliance. There's a world alliance that's taking place. We could basically see this like a 180 country alliance together. And this is all part of a regime that's helping to end this old cabal that's happening. There have been also shady characters that have been involved with this particular alliance as well too. And if those particular characters do not involve themselves with the grand plan about being able to further humanity, reverse a lot of the damage that has been done relating to the environment, then they too would be treated as those who are again still trying to perform these cruel acts based upon an old Kabbalistic empire. And so they too would be treated as such. So there's a great deal of strict policy right now that these alliances that are coming together, some of them do relate to extraterrestrial groups. So these extraterrestrial groups are again a part of the new human guardians that are here in this star system. And I'm just asking Athena right now where they may be, if these particular human guardians. They're stationed around Jupiter. Okay, so they are around the Jupiter area. And I'm also asking Athena right now about the blue avians. Were they ever the aspect of the guardians that came through? She's like, no. They were agenda-based. They had an agenda. The specific blue avians that were, again, represented through a specific individual were an agenda-based operation. It was not something that was authentic, that was actually following your own progression into advancement, moving yourself into deeper levels. There are blue avians that are here to assist, but that specific group that was talked about had more so of an agenda placed upon it, more than anything else. That could be the furthering of your race. So again, there was a lot of hidden agendas behind them. The human guardians are very, very different. So they are working together. They're actually helping to organize these fleets of armadas that are coming through. They are really taking charge here. And I'm just asking if Athena can ask if, let me see if I can rephrase that. If Athena is able to interact with these human guardians, has she spoken to them personally? She says, not personally. It's more so something that's coming through the collective network, something that's coming through much of our awareness in that way. And I'd ask, what is the Delphi's position in all of this? Are they helping out with the idea of this new alliance, of helping to repair the Earth, of working together with many of these cosmic brethren? The answer is yes, in a way. We're doing our part. Again, as Nefertitis has talked to you previously, that there is currently in the works an embassy that is being created right now for humanity. This will be quite some time before this happens, and there will be select people who will come in and in that sense be representatives of this embassy of the inner earth. And so again, this may be taking place not too far off into your distant future. but again, within the times ahead. And again, there is an area somewhere near the area of Switzerland where this would actually take place, again, underground. But again, this is an invitation-based, you could say, embassy. So there is land being set aside within the earth that would actually create this embassy for human ambassadors. But again, this is a little bit down the ways, not too much in the distant future, but again, a little bit more ahead, because there needs to be a lot of things that are done upon your planet first. So we are helping, as one particular group, to ensure that this embassy itself does happen. We are also in contacts with other humans upon your planet, and here's what she's saying as well too. We have spoken to a few of you in the previous broadcast with the empathic interfacing. Okay, so Athena has reached out to some of you. Okay, so some of you who have been able to successfully communicate with Athena, then those are the ones that she's reaching out to. Okay, so if you've been able to make a successful contact with Athena, continue to reach out with her, because it feels like she may be working with a lot of you. Okay, she's really taking the ball and running it with it here, and I'm very, very happy to see this. So again, if you have already been able to make a very successful contact with Athena, keep doing it. Right, continue to work with her, continue to talk to her. She will be guiding you through a lot of these new changes. I would ask Athena what kind of work, or I'd say what kind of messages or sharings that you're going to be offering with others. She says basically helping them to heal, to do a lot of internal healing. There will be techniques that she can even share as well too. A lot of it involves like what you feel here, with the idea of coming into a white space, coming into a white realm, and that you are able to lift up, completely purge out emotional states and replacing them with loving energies. She's basically kind of like what Brad's doing with the EQ method, in that way, somewhat similar to that. But basically it is in the astral realm. So we take you into the astral realm through, again, this state of negotiation, and you're able to purge out a lot of energies into this realm. And this realm is like a womb. It's self-healing. So if you basically take out the energy, the emotion itself, and putting it into this realm, the womb of this white light realm will start to heal it. And as it starts to become healed and refined, based upon your permissions, your will, and your intention, then through that form, it will also come back within, and it will become refined again. Okay? So this, again, still requires one's own will. This still requires a lot of assistance, a lot of willingness, a lot of cooperation on your own part for this to happen. It is not an easy fix, we'll say. So again, taking your emotions, feeling them, going back into your memories, and feeling those emotions coming out and putting it into the white space, and allowing the womb to heal it together. And you're going to feel it becoming healed. It's going to be very, very connected with you. This is what she's helping others to do. She's helping to clear out a lot of emotional trauma with many of us. Okay? And so she's working together with this white womb, this white realm, because it is a living being. It's a living being that's existing within the astral plane. So you could say it's a space, but it's also an organism as well. And you're taking out this emotional energy, and the womb is therefore transmuting it. It's turning it into love. So it's basically absorbing a lot of the debris within the emotion itself, refining it, and putting it back into you afterwards. But again, your willingness, your connection to understand what is being released, what is being transmuted, is very, very important. Okay? So she's going to be doing some memory work, some emotional work with a lot of people in that sense, all voluntarily. All if you guys feel that this is what you want to do. Athena's never shoving this stuff down your guys' throats. So it's all about if you want to engage in this, talk to Athena about that, okay? Ask her about the white room. Ask her about the white womb or the white room, right? Whatever you want to call it, that's fine. And ask for that particular type of emotional healing to take effect. She's going to be working with many of you, right? So some may ask, well, how is Athena able to do this all at once? Well, as Athena has talked about in our previous episode, is that she's in the astral realm right now, which means she can create duplicate bodies. She's able to basically fractalize herself and is able to connect to many of you at the same time. And this does not require conscious physical self-control. It's the idea that you're basically taking your own consciousness. I've done this myself as well too in Dreamtime, is that you take your consciousness and you fractalize it. And so there are basic, it's kind of like looking at notes, like, sounds from a melody, for example. And when you're playing that melody as well, too, you become in harmony with her fractalized reflection. Okay? So there's been a lot of people that have come up to me and said, oh, Brad, I dreamt about you, or I dreamt about you here, and you did this to me, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I didn't consciously do that. That's just the aspect of my astral body fractalizing and being able to visit many people at once. I do that in dream time, so I'm available for people. I'm much more smarter in the astral realm than I am here in the physical body. So that's available. It's like what Adronis does as well, too. He fractalizes himself as well, too. He goes into the astral realm and he works together with a lot of people as well. So Athena is there. She's doing the exact same thing as what my astral body is doing, what Adronis is doing. She's doing it as well, too. And she's fractalizing herself and making herself available for many people. Okay? So basically she's saying if you do want to do this, again, your willpower will determine your resolve. Okay, so that's just the feeling that if you're really intent on this, right, your own acting upon this is going to determine exactly how well you're going to succeed in this. You want to be able to change yourself, right? You want to be able to let a lot of this out. It's kind of like what I've talked about a lot too as well, is that many people will study spirituality. Very few people will actually do the work, okay? That's just how it is, right? And there's a lot of people I've worked with that, again, just want to hear me talk. And I said, that's not why I'm here, right? I'm not here to talk and to juggle and to do a clown show with you guys, right? It's not about that. It's about the idea that what I'm sharing here is something that is quote-unquote serious, and you guys have the ability to do this, right? This is all part of a work so that those who are serious, no pun intended, but those who are serious, who are able to do this work, will see results, right? Everybody can do this. But you have to have the willpower within yourself to go to that extra mile, to start taking these footsteps forward, right? Start walking, see your footsteps in the sand, and you realize, oh my goodness, I'm moving. I'm doing this. This is going to happen. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to really change myself. Because again, I hear a lot of people coming to me, and they're complaining about how hard their life is, and that they have, really heavy emotions, their body's in pain, and I understand that. I empathize with that. I understand. But the whole idea is that you're giving it so much power. And what I have learned over the years is that if you keep emphasizing how much you're in pain, your pain is only going to intensify, right? It's all the energy that you're putting into it. I'm in pain and I feel ashamed of myself and I'm feeling disgusted about who I am, etc., etc. And as soon as you just say those words, I feel it. It's like a tidal wave that hits me like this. And I feel horrible and I feel awful and I feel disgusting, right? And you're constantly bashing yourself. Stop, right? Stop doing that. You're just taking this flame, this little tiny flame from a match, and you're making it into a roaring, raging inferno. Stop. You want to get on your own side. It's good that you're able to look at your pain, but you're not feeding it, right? You have to look at this from a bird's eye point of view, right? You have to look at just like you're soaring over it, right? It's not touching you, right? It's that idea of that blight that's there, right? This intense tar, dense substance, but you're not feeding it. As soon as you say, oh, I feel horrible, the blight now starts to get bigger. Oh, I feel disgusted with who I am. Blah, blah, blah. The blight gets stronger. Oh, I feel like I'm such a victim. Blah, 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 right? And we're constantly feeding that. You're feeding this parasitical organism within yourself, and you're not understanding it. And that's not going to get you anywhere, right? It's going to create much more chaos and much more confusion in your life when you're going there. So again, this is what Athena is helping you to realize. She's probably going to be a lot more strict with you than I am, right? And she'll basically tell you, stop thinking about that. Stop thinking about giving this power. You want to, again, just get an understanding with it and release, okay? Now, the important thing as well, too, and again, Athena's kind of reminding me this as well, too, is the important thing is not just feeling that you're purging this and boom, that's it, rainbows and light and whiskers on kittens, I'm done. No. You want to now start living as that particular being. This is, again, is something that only very few people are actually able to do, okay? You're able to bring love energy to that pain, to that emotional body, but when this new energy comes into yourself, you don't keep it. You let it leak out, right? It becomes leaked out through yourself. Hold it in. Hold it in and maintain it, and look into the idea that if there are leaks, right, if there are little wounds, there are little gaping holes in your energy field, you're sealing them up, Okay, well, Brad, how do you seal them up? You seal them up with love. Okay, so you're basically imagining like a crystalline energy is just cascading around your energy field. Okay, it's kind of like what we did when we were connecting with Athena just earlier. Okay, so we're taking that energy and you run it down through the bottom of your feet first. Okay, not up here first. Okay, come down to the bottom of your feet. That's your grounding wire. Okay, you want to come up through the bottom of your feet, again up to the sacrum, up the 7 chakra centers, up through the top of the head, several feet above, and it's almost like you're taking your hands and you're just creating this cascade going all the way down. Okay, that's all you're doing. Run this energy up through the grounding wire, up through the chakras, a couple feet above your head. Take both hands down. Okay, it's a qigong technique. Okay? It's what we basically call lifting the moon, or carrying the moon, I should say, carrying the moon. So again, it's like this, right? Taking our hands fully up and down. Okay, so when you're lifting your arms up, they can be bent like this. But when you're basically going to do the moving, just bring your hands all the way up and then down. So as you're arching down, fully extending the arms until you come down to the area of the waist. Okay, try not to touch your body at all when you're doing this. Okay, just pure energy that's flowing through. Once you get up to the waist, repeat. Run it up to the grounding wire, the chakras, top of the head. Stretch out your hands, arching down, carrying the moon. Okay, that's all you got to do. That's one particular way that you can use to, again, really take this love energy. So after you're doing work with Athena, or if you're doing an EQ method with me as well too, we want to make sure that we are running this love energy that we have accumulated into ourselves through the grounding wire. This is exactly why people get burnt out, okay? Because we're not putting the energy in our bodies properly. You have to run it through the grounding wire, okay? This is something that I haven't even really shared yet with people, right? Because it's, again, more downloads that I'm receiving as well too. There's even times in the past where I've done this incorrectly, right? But you want to actually start with the bottom of your feet first. So even when you're doing heavenly energy, and heavenly energy is pouring into you, that's great. Let it cascade down to you. But once it cascades down, run it up through the grounding wires. Run it up through the brown ray frequency, okay? And right into your sacrum, 7 chakras, a couple feet above your head, and arch it down, okay? So that's something that you can use, again, to get this particular type of healing effect, to, again, help you in energizing your body, and this is helping to seal up those leaks as well too. So we want to do this quite a few times, I would say, right? If you're basically doing a lot of work with Athena or myself, and you're feeling a lot of this energy coming through, I would say do it a total of 10 times, okay, at least. So again, running up to the grounding wires, chakras, a couple feet above, arch, okay? So that's a reminder for anybody who wants to practice that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment now as we're going to go ahead and get into Q&A with anybody that has any questions for Athena. I think I've asked quite a few of the questions that I've wanted to with Athena, so she is standing by. And let me just go up the list here to see if there's anybody who has any questions for her. I'm sure there's a lot of people on, so I'm pretty sure we'll have quite a few questions here. Okay. So, okay, well, there's one here that says, are Sasquatch and Bigfoot the same? You could basically say that, yeah. A lot of people that call Sasquatch or Bigfoot the same. There's several different types of Bigfoot or Sasquatch, you could say. You know, we have the Yeti as well, too. We have the ones that kind of have like gray fur. Horus himself, again, was a sandy brown color. So there's different races of the Sasquatch or Bigfoot in that way, but they could be seen as the same. Same thing with like a Yeti, right? If you refer to it as a Yeti, that would certainly be in the category of the Sasquatch. Okay. So just going down the list here. Okay. So there's an interesting blood type question here from Starlight Glow. Can you please ask what the purpose and background of Rh negative is, and in the different types of the negative bloods? Also, if O negative is the first one. Okay, let me just see if Athena has any information on this. It said Rh negative basically represents a particular type of enzyme that actually refines your connectivity. It actually, in that sense, is a very ancient ancestral lineage. It goes back into what you would know as ancient Anunnaki bloodlines. The first aspect would begin with O negative, and it would rise up from there into A and to B as well too, from what she's sharing here. So those in that sense with Rh negative blood, in that sense, it's just part of a certain enzyme that is placed within that person's own DNA because of what we could consider to be ancient ET elder descendants, right? It goes back into ancient Anunnaki form in that particular way. I've had a lot of questions about the Rh negative blood, but because I'm not a scientist in that way, it's been a bit challenging to explain it. But basically, this is kind of how Athena would share it in that sense, is that Rh negative basically represents a specific enzyme that's coming through, and it represents a refinement of being. It basically helps you to access a lot more cosmic memory. It's like the very, very intuitive people, highly intuitive people, would actually have that reflection of the Rh negative, and then it starts with O negative, and then it moves up to A and B. Okay, so I'm hoping that clarifies that. That's basically just what I'm receiving here from her. Okay, so thank you so much, Starlight Glow, for that question. Let's move on. Okay, here's an interesting one. Inventor down the rabbit hole network. Love your names, guys. It's beautiful. How do the Delphi turn crystals into technology? Athena says, no. The crystals are technology. We don't turn them into technology. They're already here. Brad has talked about the idea of inner earth beings being like that of the Fae, and that is correct. We are fairies, you could say. We exist in the inner earth as what you would know as fair beings, because everyone here is being treated equally. We, in that sense, represent an energy that can interface with the crystals. The crystals themselves, by their own nature, is a technology. We do not add anything. We do not modify them in any particular way. We utilize these crystals based upon permission. It's organic technology, you would say. Just like the Earth is an organic spacecraft. Just like many of your planets as well are organic spacecrafts. The sun itself is an organic spacecraft. All life that you see within your star system is engineered. It has been placed here. And it works together in equilibrium, in harmony with one another. So crystals are not in any way manufactured to some technology. They are technology themselves. We interface with the crystals, and they work very similar to holograms. We can create holograms within our space because our consciousness interfaces with the energies of the crystals within. The crystals that are existing within the inner earth are at a much more potent level of energetic than the crystals that you find upon the surface of your earth. As you go much more deeper into the earth, you will discover that much of the energies of the potent crystals are available, and you'll see them as large pillars, large columns, often quartz in nature, and that we will program these crystals, and they will work together in that form of consciousness to create power supply, to create a power source, to again create holographic reality. We also use other particular forms of holographic technology that are not crystal-based, but they do follow the same lines, and therefore we create our own spaces. We basically have what you would know as material synthesis. We are able to materialize objects. We're able to materialize building supplies to actually create homes, domains in that way. Okay? So basically, in a nutshell, the crystals are the technology. So they're working together with the crystals and some associated technologies that are crystalline based, and they're able to manifest things out of thin air like that, right? Simply because where they dwell, they're in fourth density, right? The Delphi within the inner earth is a fourth density domain. So they're able to materialize these things pretty much out of thin air, and then you can start to use it through material synthesis. So again, it's really, really powerful. Yeah, and Athena is saying, in time you will learn how to do this as well too. Your people will learn how to use material synthesis, which means nothing of nature will be harmed anymore. You don't need to cut down trees. You don't need to mine the earth for any resources. You'll be able to naturally materialize these through material synthesis, okay? Yeah, she's always saying your government already has this technology, right? It's already available. These materializers, particle synthesis, being able to map out certain forms of resources, items, etc., and then being able to instantly create it. We're not talking about your 3D printing. So that's a primitive archetype. that's moving into something much more advanced, into particle synthesis, into material synthesis. So that's going to happen down the road here. It all just depends in regards to how well disclosure does. She said it's unlikely that it may be available in the current generation. It might be something that may be about 30 or 40 years ahead, so there's a wait for it. But again, it needs to go through a certain flow of nurturing, right? I don't think I'll experience it in my lifetime. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? But again, it's going to take some time to get it out there in that way. But 3D printing is the catalyst, is the primitive archetype that's going to lead to particle synthesis. But again, if you're able to connect with the Delphi, maybe the Delphi can show you exactly how this works. So it's quite interesting. You know, when it comes to collective progress, it's a slow thing. It's like looking at the tortoise and the hare. Right? The hare of ourselves, we're very zippy. We know a lot of these things and we're flying by. The tortoise is going very, very gradually, but we do know, hey, the tortoise is the one that wins the race, right? So it may feel like a slow process, but we're going to look at all of the other things that are bringing in that process a lot quicker, that brings a birthing to a new idea, a new inception, because of all the work that we're doing behind the scenes to make that happen. That's the true joy out of everything. Okay, so again, thank you so much for that question. Inventor down the rabbit hole network. Ian McDonald says, can the Delphi predict probabilities? Well, it's the same as any other seer in that way. They certainly can. Yes, absolutely. This is again why she's talking about the idea of the fleets that are coming through, and also just talking about the particle synthesis in regards to probability about when we'll be getting this over time. Everything as it relates to prediction is probability, okay? They're not definite, right? The greatest form of prediction you would get at best would be about 99%, okay? But as soon as it's coming into our awareness, it becomes contaminated, right? I give predictions at times. Adronis gives predictions at times. And when that happens, it's just the idea of a calculation. Here's a probable reality. Here's a timeline that could happen. But again, if we're focusing on this and saying we don't want that to happen, that timeline breaks up. And then we basically create a new fractalized aspect of timelines that come together to suit where we feel we want to go as a collective species, again, even through ourselves individually as well. So everything pertaining to prediction is just a calculation. So it is. You're taking out a calculator and you're just looking at temporal science, and you're just calculating and saying, okay, here's an 88.8% chance that this thing could happen. But as soon as I bring it out into awareness with you guys, it becomes contaminated. So the greatest form of prediction that can come to pass is the prediction that you're not aware of, right? So yes, Athena and the Delphi can do that as well too. Adronis does it, I do it, so it happens. I really don't like to do predictions too much, but if it's something in regards to what people want to know more about, then that's fine. Because I basically say, you know, we fasten our seatbelts. We are the ones that are going into these timelines that we prefer altogether. All right? Okay, moving on. Okay, just going down the list here. Okay. So Typhoon Yomez asks, feeling ecstatic all the time and not preparing for coming financial disaster is okay. If not, Bitcoin is a good investment. Yeah, Athena doesn't really know how to answer that. She doesn't really understand how our currencies work, so she's not really the person to talk to about that. Adronis has talked about this as well too. Thankfully, you know, Adronis goes into a lot of these details as well. The Z-Base just looks into timeline, but Athena doesn't really quite understand the nature of finances and why we're so addicted to it. It's very, very puzzling to her, I would say. She's kind of like, she's like, huh? What is with you guys? What's with you humans in finances and all stuff? You guys ever talk about us finances, for God's sakes? Right? So, basically, yes, there's going to be some ups and downs relating to stock markets altogether. And Adronis has talked about this in a private session with somebody not too long ago. Some person wanted to know more about Bitcoin as well, and they were wondering about stock markets as well too. He says, well, it's going to be going through a fluctuation, because basically what's happening right now is fiat currency is looking to be on the way out. They're trying to actually take this out, this fiat currency. But again, there's so many hands that are still reaching towards this fiat currency to keep it stable in that sense. So what Adronis has basically said is that as you move into the earlier portion of the next decade, you will see that a lot of the cryptocurrencies will be on the rise, because this is again what people will start to prefer a lot more, because it will get a lot more press, it will get a lot more publicity in that way. And so around the times of the early 2020s or mid 2020s, we're going to see a lot more of the rise of the cryptocurrency. So that's going to be one particular olive branch, yes. Adronis has also said is that you're not looking at a brand new currency. You're looking at brand new currencies, right? There's going to be many different currencies that are coming about. You can invest in them right now. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. But basically, in that sense, it's not about feeling that the fiat currency is going to be preserved. The fiat currency is going to die, right? That's basically what's happening. It's like this, and then over the years, it's going to be like this. And then again, other particular currencies are going to come up. And there's many different types, right? There's many different types of cryptocurrencies. There's different types of, again, of financial dividends that you can get involved with. Some of them, again, can be time-based. Some of them can be trade and barter. Some of them can be resource-based as well, too, kind of like the resource-based economy that the Venus Project talks about. I think that's still down the road quite a ways, but nonetheless, that's something that is still available. So there's many different inventions. People are going to start inventing their own currencies, and if there's enough of a tidal wave behind them, then this is actually what builds up inertia. But you would say that cryptocurrency would basically be the most diverse of those currencies, most definitely. So yes, there's a lot of digital currency trends that are going to happen, especially as we move into the earlier to mid part of the next decade. Okay, that's what I can share about that. Okay. Okay, Avishai Levy, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Is there anything we can help with the Delphi in that way? She said, it's not important about how you can help us. It's more so about the idea about how you can help yourselves. And all we're doing is helping you to help yourselves, right? So they are going through their own things as well, too. But they would never fall back and saying, oh, humans, we need your help. We need you to do this, right? It's more so on the idea that what we would like to see is more of you helping yourselves and then being able to help your own people. And as that time comes, we will introduce ourselves. We'll come to the surface, some of us, and we'll talk to you, right? We're going to meet up with you when the time is ripe for that to happen. Don't concern so much about helping other inner earth civilizations. You really haven't met in the physical yet. Work with yourself and work with your own people. That's really the important part right now. Because the whole idea is that the surface needs to be sanitized, which means that we need to work together in love, compassion, harmony, and bringing a community together that's sanitizing a timeline upon the surface Earth, just as the Delphi are working together with other inner Earth civilizations to try and sanitize the inner Earth, because there's a lot of corruption that is happening inside the inner Earth as well too. And she's kind of nodding her head and saying, yes, there is, right? So there's a very big sanitation effort here happening right now from the surface of our Earth, from the interior of our planet, from our star system as well too. And it even expands beyond there, but we don't really need to look at that right now, right? We're basically under a quarantine veil here. The Oort cloud, for example, would be the idea of that particular container that represents the quarantine field. And so we are here and attempting to get ourselves together. There's a lot of sanitation that's happening through the Galactic Confed out in space right now. That's why there's so many ships, that's why there's so many fleets. I just had a person tag me in a post this morning, and they were revealing a lot more photos of, again, these enormous fleets coming out of the sun as well too, and there's a lot more. So it happened a while back, and now it's continuing to happen. Again, this is kind of what Athena was talking about earlier as well too, about these new fleets, these new arrivals that are coming together. There's a major crackdown, right? It's basically what it is. You can almost think of it in the idea of a space police, right? The best way to put it with the Galactic Confederation. There's space police that are basically creating these fleets, and they're going to be doing coup d'etats, right? They're basically going to do bait and switch operations, and again, yeah, it's basically to get the Draco out of the entire star system. A lot of them are still here. A lot of them are still trying to resist a lot, right? So there are affairs that are taking place, but again, this isn't really even happening in our dimension, right? This is happening in other dimensions, and they're basically going into these other dimensions, these pockets of space and time, and they're trying to take the Draco out, right? And there's a lot of AI that's at work with this as well too. So there's a lot of rogue AI, transhumanism that's happening, right? They're able to basically take over these kind of portals, these space-time pockets, and put AI into them. And they're like just these, it's almost like an organism. Again, it's more like kind of like that blight that happens, like a kind of a parasite formation. It's actually linking across these pockets of space and trying to, again, intersect with other pockets of space as well, too, to, again, create these kind of artificial grids. And a lot of them, again, are control-based agendas. So a lot of the quote-unquote space police are coming in to try and crack down on these things, to stop these things from happening. The Draco, again, is still trying to do takeovers here. They haven't left the system graciously yet. You'll have to fight them out, right? You have to push them out for them to get here. And this is why there's so much of an armada that is coming here in that sense. They're not going to say, all right, humans, you win. We'll bow out and we'll leave. Hell no. They will not do that. They would rather destroy everything than basically be pushed out of the star system, right? So these armadas are coming in and they're basically, like pushing them out of the door and saying, get the hell out, right? So that's really what's happening right now. There's a huge crackdown, a huge bait and switch operation to get a lot of the Draco and the Draco Empire out of the star system. That's really one of the biggest things, and their AI with them as well too. So it's not a pretty sight, and of course I don't really like talking about these things, but it's what's happening. So that's the dealio that's happening right now. Okay. Sun and Moon Rising. I need help on healing my past life trauma, especially in Atlantis and ancient Egypt. Talk to Athena, right? If you're connected with her, if you've been able to feel a good connection with her, you can certainly connect with her and she'll help you out. If you're not able to connect with her, you can talk to me, right? And we can work on those things with the EQ method. Okay. So again, I'm getting a few other questions here. Help with addictions. Okay. Talk to Athena. Okay. If you're not able to connect with Athena, talk to me afterwards, and maybe we can do an EQ method together, right? This is what I do. This is why I've created the EQ method. I help you to go back into your memories. It's not like a hypnosis, but it's basically going back into the memories that you're familiar with, and I help you to work with those emotions, because the important part is not the past life that you're viewing. It's about the idea about what this past life is telling you about how you feel about yourself now, right? It's about this life that matters. It's not about what you did in Atlantis, what you did in Egypt, what you did in Nazi Germany, whatever it may be, right? Those aspects are just pointing back to some particular type of emotional anchor that's happening to you right now. And so as you're feeling that emotional anchor, you're the one that's harmonizing this, okay? So that's, again, Athena can help you out, or I can help you out through the EQ method with that. Okay, so let's go further down. Whoops. Just amazing. I just kind of asked, where do you guys get these questions from? Amazing. Okay. Thon asks, what's the meaning of the hearing a low buzz sound in your head? Well, that has many different meanings, right? Sometimes it can be a problem with your ear labyrinth. Sometimes it can be calcification in the pineal gland. Sometimes it can be mind control situations. Sometimes 5G networks can do that. There's a lot of different things relating to a buzz sound in your head, right? So it's sometimes, again, it's a physical condition from ourselves. Sometimes it's EMF, ELF as well too. So really what I would suggest is being able to bring as much nature into your house as possible, right? Put a lot of plants in your house, maybe look into orgonite as well too, and just basically try to completely disperse as much of the dirty electricity that you get in your home. Secondly, you can do a lot of crystal work as well too. You can enchant crystals. Grounding crystals are usually pretty good. Smoky quartz is quite good. Fluorite is quite good as well too. And I can probably name quite a few other ones as well that people can look at. So really the whole idea is that you really want to EMF proof your house as much as possible. Again, if this is a medical condition, then you may want to work into the idea of helping to heal your ear labyrinth in that way. Hydrogen peroxide is a really good thing. You can also look into thankyousilver.com. They have products. And I don't do any product placement here, guys. I'm not getting sponsorships or anything like that. These are just products that I use, right? So the Thank You Silver is one that I use. It's called thankyousilver.com, and you can use their structured silver that they use. It's really, really great. You can put that into your ear, and that can also help to clear up a lot of it, right? So again, there's many different answers to that questions. Bob Perry, are we any closer to the big event happening with the solar flares? Well, each day that we progress, we're somewhere further, but yes. Adronis says there's no date relating to the event right now. Okay, we're going through a sequence of events that's happening right now. And the culmination of a big event is something that will happen once we get through more of these things. But this is not a doomsday. Okay, I really want you guys to, click in on that. The event is not a doomsday, right? It's the idea of a transformation. It's the idea of a transition from one dimension to another. So when we go into that aspect of the event, it's a full immersion from third density to fourth density. It's not a doomsday, right? It's other than the idea that if you're creating your own doom, then yes, you create something of that nature. Again, this is something that has been prophesied for thousands and thousands of years through many different forms of ancient civilizations about the aspect of a transition from one density to the earth, one density to another. We just call it the event because it's a funny catchword that we basically invented now. The event, the event, the event, right? We look at that TV show that was happening. I don't know. Again, that's a little coin phrase that we use. But again, it's really just the whole idea of transitioning from one dimension to another, right? This is what I've been talking about on this channel for the past several years, right? That's all the event is. So it's the idea that we're transitioning into that particular reality bit by bit at appropriate times, right? So there's miniature events that are happening, and of course, then the big one will eventually happen. Yes, that's, again, I've talked a lot about the event. Adronis has as well, too. You can find a lot about that on my channel. I don't want to kind of take up too much time with that because a lot of it has been thoroughly discussed before. Okay, thank you, Bob, for your question. First timer, welcome, Donald. Thank you. Let me just go down the list a little bit more because we are getting pretty close on the end of our time here. So again, if you guys are all familiar with how to connect with Athena, again, make sure that you're doing that. Very, very important because she's willing to work with many different people. Okay. Donatus asks, when are they going to show themselves? Can you ask Adronis to be more specific? Adronis isn't a part of this episode, right? Now, again, Athena, in that sense, as she has shared, is that it's not about an exact time. She says there's a lot of things that need to be corrected here on your surface to take care of yourselves first. You have to put yourself in this position. If you're basically looking above your Earth and you're an advanced civilization, and you realize that the people down there are still very emotionally fragile, they're still not knowing how to take care of themselves or each other or the planet, and that you feel you want to go down there and greet everybody, it's going to be a disaster. Okay? Not because the humans will be afraid of you, but because now they feel that they have martyrs, they have saints that can come down and do things for themselves. You can't do that, right? The law of non-interference is very, very true, right? You cannot just have a bunch of ET civilizations or even beings in the inner Earth that can come up and say, hey, humans, we're here, right? This is what you haven't known all along, right? We've never existed in your history books, and if we did, they've been burned to pieces, burned to ash. But hey, we're here. We'll take care of you. No, you don't want that. That is a disaster, right? That is a nightmare that comes together. So you really have to look at this, because I get this question to death. Oh, Brad, when are they going to come down? Just get them to come down here and let's take us off this planet. Why? So you can basically use them as martyrs, as saints, right? Because now they're going to basically have to babysit you. And if something goes wrong, then you can just blame it on them, right? No. And with due respect, they're not going to do that, because for them to do that would be completely and totally idiotic, right? And they're not like that. And again, this is no offense to anything. I know a lot of people, I've talked to hundreds of people that want this question answered as well. Like they're talking to Adronis about it, and Adronis is basically saying the same thing I am, right? Athena's saying the same thing right now. They're saying it's not about that, because you're only going to worship us, right? You're going to worship us because we have all this technology. We are able to travel the stars. And say, well, can you go ahead and do this for me? Can you go ahead and do that for me, right? And you become a slave to that person's benevolence in that way, to that person's higher authority. And so you basically just become coerced by a higher authority that represent an ET or that represent an inner Earth being or another dimensional being, etc., because you basically see them as superior to yourself. That is the prelude to enslavement, right? You don't want that. So a lot of beings are not just going to come down here and say, hey, humans, we'll rescue you. Or other beings are going to come in through the earth and say, hey, humans, we're going to rescue you. No. because that is not what we want. We have been fooled by that for thousands and thousands of years, and look what it's got us. Everything that we're experiencing right now with these particular forms of systems have been based upon something just like that, right? With the idea of how our society works, with how we are very much in a state of separation consciousness on illusion level. All of that has come because we have given our power to other people that felt that they could take care of us. It's not the answer, right? You will be enslaved by that understanding, okay? What's important right now is that we're getting ourselves together. Stop looking for another way around this. There isn't. You have to start taking care of yourselves. You have to start doing the inner work. You have to start bringing yourself into these higher understandings, because now you see that everybody else that's around you is just a fractal consciousness, a reflection of yourself. When you basically compose yourself and feel yourself going to work within yourself, and you feel this love and this peace and this tranquility, you're not concerned by the dramatic affairs of the world, because now you understand the mechanics, and now you're educating people about the mechanics, about why these things happen, so that they don't have to happen again. It'll certainly start off small, but it'll start to spike up, right? That's why we're here. That's what we're doing here. This is what I've realized as well too, because I used to be very much into the conspiracy stuff and to the feeling that, I just wish ETs would come down here and just take us off this godforsaken planet. I was like that as well too, right? And I realized it was not the answer. So again, this is why there's no real dates about what's happening relating to, when there can be the aspect of first contact. Adronis has surmised that a global first contact could happen sometime around 2050, give or take a few years around that time. But it all depends in regards to how things are doing. If you're actually looking into a lot of the media that's happening right now, there's a lot of people that are talking about ETs, talking about there's life beyond us, and we're going to start looking into this. Even NASA is starting to talk about this right now. So that's again showing that there is progress in the works, right? The aspect of the collective consciousness, with so many people that are demanding the idea of other civilizations coming forward, is going to happen, but again, it's going to be in a nurturing way. It's not going to be in a full blast way where we think the entire collective consciousness is going to experience them just like that. You have to nurture it, right? The late Dolores Cannon really shared something really great as well too, because she would say it's like a baby, right? And you have to basically feed babies little bits, a baby food. You can't just throw a big gigantic prime rib on top of their high chair and say, go ahead, dig in, right? It's not going to work like that. We have to nurture ourselves one step at a time, right? Little spoonfuls of baby food here and there. And that's what's happening. As we grow, as we progress, we'll start to handle bigger meals, right? That's where we're going. Everything is progression. It's not just going to be like this, because again, that is too much energy for people to take in. Some people may say, oh, Brad, I can handle it. Oh, I can take this. Don't you worry. I talk with Arcturians, I talk with Palladians, I talk with Syrians, I talk with Andromedans, and I talk with them every single day. I can handle this, no problem. Ha, 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 ha. Right? Well, in your own reality, you may have something like that come together, but you don't speak for the collective, right? This is the collective approach. Like I said, the tortoise and the hare, right? You may be doing laps around the tortoise while the tortoise is very, very slowly moving, but the tortoise in that sense is going to bring about its own progressions, and that is going to be itself going across the track, winning its own race in that particular way, okay? So just be mindful of those particular types of questions. I get those quite a bit. But again, thank you for the question as well, too. Okay, we're going to take probably about one last question before we wrap it up here. So I'm just going to go down to the bottom of the list here. Okay, here's a good one to end on. Alina asks, what happens if you decide to leave the planet now? Where would the soul go? Okay, well, let me talk to Athena about that. She said, well, your soul is tethered to this planet. It's not about you actually leaving this world, because there is an attachment here. There's a tether that's with you that will slingshot your soul back to Earth. Even if someone tried to take you off planet right now, your energy, your DNA, your body is configured to the Earth. So you'd have to think of it as a never-ending rubber band or a never-ending umbilical cord. They could take you to another planet, they could take you to another galaxy, but your tether is still here on the Earth. If you basically end up losing your life, so to speak, you transition from the body, your soul slingshots back to Earth, because again, that's where your karma resides. Now again, because you have touched other planes, those planes of experiences will materialize themselves in some way to reflecting the idea of the experiences of what you have gone through being off planet. But because you're tethered to the earth, that will be your domain. That's where your soul will return to in that way for another incarnation. Okay. Thank you, Athena, again for clarifying that, because there has been a lot of talk about certain people being taken off planet, taken to other galaxies, again perhaps to other star systems, other planets, and that some of them again may be living together with other ETs. And again, this is because there is a cosmic trade going on. Now, this is a pretty sensitive topic. Okay, so there have been a lot of humans, hundreds of thousands of them, that have been taken off planet and are basically being sold through the aspect of this kind of cosmic trade that's going on, right? And I believe there again is a shakedown to try and prevent that from happening as well too right now. So certain humans have been sold to other civilizations, sometimes again for slavery, sometimes again to be put in zoos, sometimes in that sense for food resources as well too. It's a horrifying, thing to look at. But nonetheless, just as Athena stated, is like, it doesn't matter if a person's being taken off planet. Their soul, their energy, their body belongs to this earth. So regardless of what happens, their soul will slingshot back to the earth, and they will incarnate here again, but they will experience some particular type of materialization of events that took place relating to them to being off-world, that will materialize into some type of pattern that they will have to go through and experience and resolve karmically. Okay, that's what can be shared relating to that. Okay, guys, we are out of time. I want to thank you, everybody, for joining me here on Empathic Interfacing Live. And again, I want to bring my love and my blessings to Athena. Thank you so much for your presence. My beloved one, thank you so much. And again, we'll speak to you very soon. Infinite blessings. Namaste. Closing channel. Okay, so again, if you guys can connect with Athena, please do. Very, very important. If you have that connection, that's something that, of course, you really do want to look into, as again, Athena is here to assist. So, before I wrap it up, again, just a reminder to everybody that there is a 20% off all sessions and products from New Earth Teachings right now. Use promo code, all capital letters, Teachings20, on the shopping cart page. So again, this applies to all of my sessions and all of my products on newearthteachings.com. So again, you can go there, Body Regeneration Series, Adronis Phase courses. Of course, there's the sessions, Akashic sessions, private one-to-ones, etc. All of them now are 20% off. And again, through Teachings20, the promo code. And again, offer is valid until the end of day on Sunday, December 9th. Okay, so take advantage of that. And of course, this Saturday, Adronis open forum. So if you guys still had some questions that I wasn't able to get around to today, then you can again participate in this Adronis open forum, a free interaction, Saturday, December 8th, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and I believe that's 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time as well too. Okay, live Q&A interaction. So Adronis will be answering a lot of questions coming through. All right. Thank you, everybody, for, again, joining me on the second episode of the Empathic Interfacing Live. I'm not too sure when the next episode will happen. I just have to kind of see how my schedule holds up in that way. I do like to do a lot of these, but again, they all have to come together in appropriate timing. So thank you, everybody, for your questions today. May it be well with you all. And thank you again for all of your great questions. I really appreciate it. I loved every single one of them, even if they were something that I've heard before many times. But again, everybody receives it in its own unique way. Okay? Namaste. Take care. And we'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Take care.